Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Urvashi Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication from Jagannath University, Jaipur. In continuation with our course, Writing for Media, today we'll be focusing on emphasis, rhythm, variety, breaking monotony, and varied openings. So let us begin with the session. Emphasis and types of emphasis. Emphasis refers to adding weight or laying stress or highlighting the main idea. In terms of oral communication, emphasis can be achieved through voice modulation, altering tone, pitch, or by changing the timbre of the voice. In terms of non-verbal communication, emphasis can be added through posture, gesture, eye movement, pointing fingers, facial expressions, etc. In context of writing, emphasis highlights the main idea in the paragraph and makes it to stand out from rest of the elements inside the paragraph. In this lesson, we shall study how we can use different tools to emphasize what we intend to in our writing. Emphasis is important in order to communicate effectively. Types of emphasis. In terms of writing, emphasis can be classified as total and partial emphasis. Total emphasis applies to the entire sentence. Let us consider an example. An old man sat in the corner. In this sentence, no special emphasis is laid either on the subject or on the predicate. Whereas, if we rewrite the sentence as in the corner sat the old man, the writer is now laying stress on the old man and where he is sitting. Partial emphasis applies to a word or group of words within a sentence. Emphasis within a sentence, however, is characteristic of a well-written sentences. Usually, one word or phrase or a clause is more important than the other. Consider these two variations of the same statement. It suddenly began to rain. In this sentence, the event seems normal. Whereas, if the same sentence is written as suddenly it began to rain, it adds dramatic element to the event and emphasis that the rain was unexpected. By moving suddenly to the opening position and isolating it with a comma, the writer gives the word far more weightage than it had in the earlier sentence. Tools used to emphasize in writing. Strong words. Strong words are generally used in spoken language to grab attention, and so does in written language, as they trigger emotion reactions. For example, Ram, you are late for the class. In this sentence, the stress is not laid on any word. But if the sentence is rewritten as Ram, you are always late for the class. Here, the strong words always late emphasize on the fact that he is coming late to the class regularly. It is a regular phenomena. Using space. When a word or a phrase is embedded within a sentence, it does not stand out as well. You can use the space on the page to make what you want people to remember to stand out. So, remember to save the whales. Headings. Headings refer to the key points within the written piece and are generally given in the beginning of the write-up. Nowadays, colored headlines are used as they grab the attention by leading a visual variation to a simple layout. Also, an example of this can be seen on the editorial page of most of the headlines, where the designer plays with the weight of the headlines in terms of a visual weight. Using active voice. The active voice makes your sentences move easily and rapidly, while passive voice is frequently clumsy and sluggish. By repeating important words. Repetition of important words and phrases reinforces the idea and lends clarity to it. For example, he worked on weekend. He worked during his lunch break. And he also worked after dinner. He worked and worked and worked. By placing the most important idea at the beginning of the sentence or the end of the sentence. Rhetorical pattern. There are two types of sentence pattern, cumulative and periodic. In cumulative sentence, the most important idea is placed in the beginning of the sentence, whereas in periodic sentence, the most important idea is placed at the end of the sentence. Text devices. Textual devices can also be used to emphasize on words or phrases within the sentences. Textual elements include bold, italics, question mark, comma, etc. Written words can also be made to stand out by using the standard text devices as below. Italics. It is used to give subtle stress on words. It is generally used to write titles, names of the books, films, television series, paintings, unfamiliar foreign terms, etc. As a rule, the foreign terms are italicized on first reference and are mentioned in normal typeface when they again occur. Bold. Boldface lettering is clearly visible on first look and emphasizes on the importance of the word, phrase, or a sentence. It creates tension and is deliberately used for display type. This typeface is generally used in writing headlines, titles, new terms, glossary, etc. Underline. Underlining the important words, phrases, or sentences in a paragraph adds visual element to the text and make it stand out. The best example is that while reading book, some people underline important piece of information which they remember for life. The underlining text adds visual element as well as reinforce and emphasize on the importance and relevance of that particular word or a phrase. Size. Size is also used to emphasize. It is perceived that bigger size overpowers the smaller size. It's true, the words which are written in bigger fonts not only grab the attention but are also easier to remember. Like headlines, name of the organization are generally written in bigger fonts. Punctuation. Punctuation marks refer to symbols that are used to lend clarity and understanding to a written language. For example, full stop or period, comma, question mark, exclamation mark, apostrophe, hyphen, colon, etc. Uppercase. All caps is similar to shouting in oral communication. It is used when one wants to stress on some word within a paragraph or in headings. Color. Colors towards the red end of the spectrum are bright and stand out more. These colors are used to draw attention to the keywords like danger is written in red, non-vegetarian food item carry a red mark, whereas vegetarian items carry green mark. Colors like blue are used to indicate coolness and are known as cool colors as they are subtle in nature. Next we move to rhythm and types of rhythm. Rhythm is derived from Greek word rhythmos, which means measured motion. In simple words, rhythm is repetition of identical pattern or style. Rhythm is present in the flow of river, beat of music, design, and even in our writing. Long and short sentence structures and patterns demonstrate rhythm in writing. Types of rhythm. Rhythm can be classified as effective rhythm, awkward rhythm, and mimetic rhythm, depending upon sentence structure and pattern. Let's look at awkward rhythm. The rhythm which is not pleasing to the ear is called awkward rhythm. Short sentences generate this rhythm. Awkward rhythm is generated to communicate state of confusion, fear, extreme happiness, sadness, going blank, etc. As writing is minus expressions, rhythm gives that missing expression to writing. Effective rhythm. The rhythm that pleases ear is known as effective rhythm. It makes clear what the writer wants to say by enhancing and reinforcing the meaning. It is generally used to narrate the usual happening or a daily routine. It uses long sentences. Mimetic rhythm means imitative. Mimetic rhythm imitates the perception, A sentence describes or feeling or ideas it conveys. So example of an awkward rhythm can be, it was a dark night, dogs were barking, and then suddenly I heard a sound. So it is an awkward rhythm where a series of short sentences is used to describe the outside situation. Effective rhythm. Yesterday, I boarded the bus, took the ticket, and then I was on my way to college. So it's a routine idea which is being described, and it is a use of a single long sentence that is conveying what routine I followed, which is a usual routine to get to college. Mimetic rhythm. It imitates the perception or describes the feeling. I never thought swimming would change me as a person. It made me more confident, right? So, this is how it is describing a feeling or an emotion, or it is describing an idea. Rhythm in writing. Rhythm is repetition of a pattern or sound. The written piece consists of words and phrases which depict a certain tone or a character depending upon the purpose of writing. Rhythm determines the flow of writing, which can be flowing like a water, smooth, choppy, or punctuated. Here are some tips that will help you to use rhythm effectively in your writing. Vary the length of your sentences. Reading sentences of similar length makes the reading very monotonous and boring. So a writer uses combination of long and short sentences. This not only makes writing interesting but also lends a natural flow of words to the thought. Rearrange words or phrases. Rhythm should be checked at the editing stage to rearrange word or phrases. Rhythm should be checked at the editing stage to make the written piece perfect and effective. One should read the piece aloud and look at the connection between phrases, sentences, and paragraphs. If there is a glitch or stumbling or an issue related to the flow of thoughts, check it, rearrange it if possible in order to ensure smooth reading. Consider what your rhythm evokes. Rhythm in writing is also dependent on emotion and purpose of writing. Writer must be clear about the purpose, emotion, and action it tends to evoke. For example, one should use short sentences if writing a suspense story. For an emotional or describing a daily routine, r- uh, rhythm should be smooth and flowing, so the writer can use longer sentences. Just remember, variety is the key because too much of anything becomes boring quickly. Variety. When a writer includes variety of sentences in a write-up, he not only makes it interesting but also adds life and rhythm to it. As sentences of similar structure makes the piece monotonous and boring, variation in sentence length and structure not only reduces repetition but also adds an emphasis to the write-up. A lot of information can be incorporated in long sentences and short sentences and can often maximize crucial points or introduce a new concept. How can one add variety? Now the question arises, how variety can be added to a write-up. For adding variety to the write-up, writer does three things. Firstly, he enhances the flow of ideas, then he intensifies the points he wants to put across, and at the same time, he tries to sustain the interest of the reader in his piece. Variety can be added by adding rhythm, emphasis, varying the sentence length, etc. This in turn generates interest amongst the readers. Sentences of similar length or having same grammatical pattern create monotony. The tools that are used by the writers to add variety. Let us understand each of these methods in detail. Vary the length of the sentences within the body of a paragraph. Sentences of similar length within a paragraph make the writing dull, boring, and monotonous. To make the paragraph interesting and lively, writer uses sentences of different lengths, which also paves way to write using effective rhythm. For example, the Mehra family visited Delhi and Himachal last winter to buy some native cultural and art forms. In Delhi stores, they found some excellent examples of wooden carvings, shawls, and other woolen items, but were unable to contact dealer selling any of the woven sweaters and shawls they wanted. The Mehras were very disappointed and left Delhi store empty-handed. Rewritten piece or a revised piece. The Mehra's visit to Delhi and Himachal last winter to find some native art and craft like wooden carvings, shawls and other woolen items. Delhi stores had excellent collection of wooden carvings, shawls and other woolen items. Still they were disappointed to learn that woven sweaters and shawls which they had especially wanted were difficult to find. Sadly, they left empty-handed. Sorry. Short sentences. Short sentences are used to present the ideas crisply and clearly, but too many of them often make writing awkward and simplistic. Writers generally use short sentences to introduce new concept which is followed by a long sentence giving description of it. To add emphasis or to create awkward rhythm, like if the writer wants to convey a situation of fear, confusion or suspense. Writers generally overcome their habit of overusing short sentences by combining sentences using conjunction. For example, Hari came, Hari was late, he was stuck in a jam. Revised, Hari was late as he was stuck in a jam. Sentence combining. It simply means series of short sentences are joined into an effective longer sentence. For example, last weekend I saw a fiction film. My family went with me. Here are the sentences combined into one more economical sentence. Last weekend I saw a fictional film along with my family. Subordination. Understanding the connection between ideas is difficult for the readers if choppy, short sentences are used to put them across. So, in order to achieve clarity of concept, writers use subordinating conjunctions like after, when, although, because, etc. They not only connect but also establish relationship between the clauses. Consider the following examples. I kicked the wall, my foot hurt terribly. After I kicked the wall, my foot hurt terribly. Or I kicked the wall because my foot hurt terribly. Medium sentences. A medium length sentence connects ideas and adds details, and at the same time, they are clear and easy to read. These sentences are versatile and should form core elements in writing. Long sentences. These sentences establish complex interrelationships and include substantial amount of amplification and clarification. They are used to explain the concept introduced in short sentence and to generate effective rhythm. These sentences should be used sparingly to emphasize relationships and to incorporate details. If used regularly, it leads to loss of main idea by the time writer finishes reading it. To overcome this habit of writing long sentences, the writer should avoid using too many prepositional phrases like the garden of my grandfather rather than my grandfather's house. One should eliminate repetition and unnecessary details. Try using words like it, which, whose, that, those, thing, these, they, etc. B. By using front-loaded and end-loaded and balanced sentences adds rhythm and creates emphasis. Front-loaded sentences. It refers to sentences which subject is placed in the initial position along with followed by a variety of modifiers. Example: PM Narendra Modi launched his campaign on 2nd October 2014. End-loaded sentences refers to sentences in which the main idea or a part of it is at the end and creates a suspense and emphasis. This campaign was launched by PM Narendra Modi on 2nd October 2014. Balanced sentences refers to sentences in which parallel elements like words, phrases, and sometimes the whole clause to create interest and emphasis. Vary sentence beginnings using different parts of speech. This adds to the variety and clarity of sentence and effectively puts the message across. For example, begin with adverbs. The ornithologist continuously approached the eagle's nest. Change to continuously, the ornithologist approached the eagle's nest. Begin with adjectives. Jason, exhausted and dirty, collapsed in the armchair. Change to exhausted and dirty Jason collapsed in the armchair. Sentence types. Different types of sentences are used to add variety to write up. One can use declarative sentence to make statement of fact like metro run from ITO begins today. Interrogative sentence can be used to ask question like how was your experience in Delhi metro? One can use imperative sentence to command or order someone to do something. Example, come prepared for the class test tomorrow. In order to make an emotional statement like, Yippee, we won the match. Rhetorical sentence pattern. Rhetorical pattern in sentence construction can also be used to add variety. Periodic sentence or climatic sentence. It refers to a sentence pattern where the writer adds detail one after the other, ending it with the main idea. For example, after researching for 12 months, scripting for another 3 months, and contacting various producers for several weeks, he was finally able to sell his first script to the producer. Loose sentence or cumulative sentence is the most common sentence structure in English where the important idea is placed in the beginning of the sentence, which is followed by a series of details. It simply refers to beginning the sentence with the main idea, then adding details to it. For example, he finished his script after conducting research for 2 months and then spending 2 years to pen it. Sentence patterns. Writer use subject, verb, object, SVO. One can form number of sentences by rearranging subject, verb and object. For example, do you know what the kids ate? Ice cream. An ice cream was devoured by the kids. The kid ate ice cream again. Breaking monotony. Monotony simply means lack of variety or interest, which is often due to repetition or routine. Similarity of sentence structure or construction leads to monotony. To overcome this problem, writer uses prepositional phrase and adverbial clause, etc. Writing formats may differ in purpose and approach, but have similar structure like beginning, body, and end. Announcing the subject. Implicit sentences refers to the sentence which is not stated directly but the meaning is understood. It is an indirect statement which just suggests meaning and purpose. For example, there is a hidden principle in his writings. She implicitly said she likes yellow skirt by saying she likes all colors but black. In the first example, the writer may not have clearly or directly laid out a moral vision, but it is understood through the character, their action, and their experiences. In second example, the woman states that she likes all skirt colors but black, while she doesn't directly says she likes yellow skirt, she implicitly does. In explicit announcement, writer states the subject. It refers to the sentence which is stated clearly and directly, which leaves no question about the meaning. It is clear, direct statement which leaves nothing to be implied and leaves no room for confusion. For example, the law is clear regarding service tax being raised. He said firmly, "You will not attend that party." Both these examples, the word clear and firmly, are used to demonstrate something that has been clearly expressed or stated. There is no room of doubt because everything is clearly and directly communicated. Immediate announcement. Writer uses immediate announcements if the subject he is writing on is of great interest, provocative, or startling. It is more clearer than delayed announcement. Delayed announcement, it follows an approach where the suspense is maintained and the subject is revealed in the end. It grabs the attention of the reader and sustains it for long. In this session, we have discussed different tools that a writer can use in order to emphasize on the text he is writing, how he can add the variety to his writing and make his writing easier, understandable, and attractive to the reader. We also study different types of sentence structure that can be used. Also, the rhythm in writing is made clear in this session. It also helped us to understand what is the purpose of using shorter, medium length, and long length sentences, and also how the placement of subject in the beginning and the end of the sentence can change the entire meaning of the sentence. Thank you.